page 22 is where it starts. And now remember, in Revelation 17, it's the story of the judgment of the papacy, of the whore, who hath committed fornication with the kings of the earth. And Jezebel and Ahab, that was an unlawful relationship. Bible prophecy, fornication is an unlawful relationship. At the end of the world, when the papacy commits fornication with the kings of the earth, it's the combination of church and state. That's what the fornication represents. So Revelation 17 is about the judgment of the papacy who's come into a church-state relationship with the kings of the earth. And on page 22, under he must continue a short space. If you remember, this seventh kingdom that has not yet come, he continues for a short space. And in verses 13 and 17, it says that they continue for 1 hour and that these 10 kings agree to give their kingdom, the seventh kingdom, unto the beast. There's an agreement struck between the seventh kingdom and the papacy, and they rule for 1 hour, a short space. So from Testimonies to Ministers, page 38 and 39, it says kings and rulers and governors. And kings, rulers, and governors are terms for political figures, a plurality of political figures. Kings and rulers and governors have placed upon themselves the brand of Antichrist and are represented as the dragon who goes to make war with the saints, with those who keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Jesus. The kings, governors, and rulers are the 10 kings of Revelation 17. It's a group of politicians that commit fornication with the papacy at the end of the world during the Sunday law crisis. They go forth to make war with the saints. Okay? This is the United Nations. The United Nations has a map where it has divided the world into 10 districts. When it takes control of the world, it intends to govern the world through this breakup of 10 districts. So you can show the map that the United Nations has the world divided into 10 kingdoms. But more than that, in Isaiah, and we're very deficient in our understanding of Isaiah chapter 6, 7, and 8. And Isaiah 6, 7, and 8 is the message of the hour. Okay, Isaiah 7 is where Isaiah introduces the beginning of both 25:20s. You know there's two 25:20 time prophecies, and Isaiah marks the beginning of both of them, right? Right? Amen? You know this? Okay. But in the story of Isaiah 6, 7, and 8, we get to chapter 8, verse 9. It says, associate yourself, O you people, and you shall be broken in pieces, and give ear, all you countries. Gird yourself, and you shall be broken in pieces. How many countries? All you countries. This is about all the countries of the world. Gird yourself, and you shall be broken together. Take counsel together, and it shall come to naught. Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for God is with us. For the Lord spake thus unto me with a strong hand, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, say ye not a confederacy to all them whom this people say a confederacy, neither fear ye their fear nor be afraid. This confederacy here, all right, this confederacy of Isaiah 8 is the confederacy of the beast, the dragon, and false prophet. And Sister White speaks often about this confederacy. Okay, primarily this is the United Nations. And in your notes, on page 22, you have from Evangelism, page 617, the first paragraph. She's quoting from those verses that I just read. Okay, Isaiah 8, verses 9 through 13. And then what she says in this passage is she tells us that this confederacy is made up of Freemasons. And if you go into the history of the United Nations, they will tell you that they are Freemasons. Okay? So Sister White's telling us this confederacy of Isaiah 8, it's made up of Freemasons. Now on the next page you have a quote from Selected Messages, book 2, page 131, where she once again quotes from this evil confederacy of Isaiah 8, and she says their religion is spiritualism. She says their religion is the same religion as the Hindus. And the Hindus, their religion is spiritualism. As Adventists, we know the religion of the dragon is spiritualism. Kings, governors, and rulers have taken upon themselves the brand of Antichrist and are represented as the dragon. The dragon is these Freemasonry, these group of politicians that come into an unlawful relationship with the papacy. Their religion is spiritualism. Then In the next quote on page 23, she says, a confederacy of covetousness. She's going to quote from Isaiah 8 again. And she, in the middle of the first paragraph, she says, men occupying high positions of trust have revealed this lawful desire for gain. This is the global bankers, of which the United Nations is connected with the global bankers. The next quote is more about the global bankers. Pardon me? I'm on page 23. So what I'm saying is, the dragon power at the end of the world is the United Nations. Let me share one thing. But how much time do we have? 10 minutes. Okay, let me share one thing a little bit outside of this, but it'll help on this, perhaps. When it comes to the beast, the dragon, the false prophet, they all have their own characteristics. Right? The beast never changes. Rome never changes. The United States, the false prophet, it's the power that changes. It begins as a lamb, it ends up speaking as a dragon. It begins with two horns of Republican and Protestantism, and those change to military and economic power. The United States changes. The false prophet changes. The papacy does not change. But the papacy, from its beginning to its end, is located in the city of Rome. Okay, it never moves from the city of Rome. And the United States is always the United States. When the United States is Protestantism, when it speaks like a lamb, it's in the United States. When it turns into apostate Protestantism, it's still in the United States. But not the dragon. The dragon moves through history. And prophecy traces the movements of the dragon. Where does the dragon start? Pardon me? Garden of Eden? Does the dragon start in the Garden of Eden? No, it starts in heaven. Rebellion starts in heaven, right? Okay, then it comes to the Garden of Eden, right? Then where does it go in prophecy? Where do we see it? We see it in Babylon. We see it in Babylon. It's the Chaldeans. They are the mystery Babylon religious leaders in Babylon. And history tells us that when Babylon fell, the dragon moved. Where did the dragon move when Babylon fell? Where did the Chaldeans actually flee to? Egypt. No. Go to Revelation chapter 2. History and prophecy tells us specifically where the Chaldeans fled after the fall of Babylon. And in Revelation chapter 2, verse 13, speaking of Pergamos, okay, Pergamos, it says in verse 13, I know thy works and where thou dwellest, even where Satan's seat is. See, the dragon begins in heaven, he goes to the Garden of Eden, he goes to Babylon, he goes to Pergamos. And when pagan Rome conquers the world, they conquer Pergamos. And what does pagan Rome do when it conquers Pergamos? It takes the religion of Pergamos and it takes it back to the city of Rome and puts it in the Pantheon temple, the temple of the gods. So the dragon, it moves from heaven to the Garden of Eden, from Babylon to Pergamos to the city of Rome. But what happens to pagan Rome? Disintegrates into 10 nations. The next place that the dragon is noted in scriptures is in atheistic France. Okay? Egypt, Revelation 11 verse 8. Daniel 11 verse 40. But ultimately, where's the dragon move in verse 40? To the Soviet Union. Because that's the king of the south. That's the king of Egypt. And Egypt, in Ezekiel 29 verses 2 and 3, Egypt is the dragon, remember? Okay, so when Gorbachev lets the king of the south, the Soviet Union, disintegrate, does anyone remember what Gorbachev did? When Gorbachev surrendered the Soviet Union to the papacy, Gorbachev took a job. Where did he take a job? Still has a job. United Nations. He took a job with the United Nations. He moved to the United States. The dragon begins in heaven, goes to the Garden of Eden, goes to Babylon, goes to Pergamos, goes to pagan Rome, goes to France, goes to the Soviet Union, goes to the United Nations. Rome's always in the city of Rome. The false prophet's always in the United States. But the dragon, it moves through history. It manifests itself in different locations in history. And the last place it manifests itself is in the United Nations. Pergamos was a city in Asia Minor. All the cities of Asia Minor are the 7 churches that John was writing to in chapter 2 and 3. All those 7 cities were 7 churches. They were in existence when John was alive. and there was a road. If you took the road that went around Asia Minor, you came to those cities in order. Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamos, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, Laodicea. So the dragon at the end of the world is the United Nations. There's all kinds of proof texts to bring for that. We're not dealing with that really here, but that's a brief response. Brothers and sisters, if you get under conviction that you need to know this message, you need to either contact us and get the 2004 Prophecy School. That's where you should start. It's the beginning. It's 40 hours worth of DVDs. Or you can download it off some of these websites for free probably. Or there may be someone here in your group that has that you can burn a copy. I'm not trying to sell you anything, and if I was trying to sell you something, I wouldn't do it on the Sabbath. But I guarantee through the years, I've told many, many people, start with the 2004 Prophecy School, and I've never had people come back and say, hey, you know, that was a waste of time, or I shouldn't have did that. 2004 Prophecy School will cover the last 6 verses of Daniel 11 and Revelation 13 and Revelation 17 and these prophetic concepts in depth.
You said that there was different opinions last night. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to come. I know that there's different teachings. There's a lot of people leaving the conference churches and creating their own churches and decide maybe one extreme to another extreme. Was this pertaining anything contrary to teaching? I wasn't here, so.
Okay, the sister wasn't here last night, and she wants to know what the 2 winds that I heard last night are. And had I wanted to be specific about them, I would have said it. But I don't want to be divisive at this point. But all I'm saying is that from my perspective, I recognized 2 teachings.